Hey guys, here's a little heads up before we start the video that this does have some depressing and mature themes, such as, like depression, mental health, probably like toxic friends and stuff like that. So if that's like triggering to you, I think that you shouldn't watch this. This is just like a heads up, basically. So if I get emotional and like just stop talking, it probably is because I'm trying to like talk without like breaking down. So this is gonna be fun. I think we should just start from the beginning of when I was younger. When I was younger, I was always a loner, and I never really had that many friends. And also, another thing is that there's gonna be some religious stuff in here, because I did go to a Christian school. So if you're not into that, or you don't like that, then you can click off this video. Okay, so as we get on to the story, I didn't have a lot of friends until, like, kindergarten, and I didn't have a lot of friends until, a little later, but I do remember a few things that did happen in kindergarten. Since I was a loner, I would do bad things, and I would purposely get myself in trouble. So I remember that there was this really annoying teacher, because she would, like, follow me around, because she knew that I was bad, basically. I'm not bad now, and definitely not. I have always been a good child, but, yeah. I was not the best when I was younger. I was kind of a brat at times, definitely. But you'll hear about that later. Okay, so she would follow me around to make sure I wouldn't do anything bad. Like, we weren't supposed to, like, kick blocks, so I would do that on purpose. And, I would go on this, like, brick kind of wall thing that you weren't supposed to go on, like, that led up to a mountain. I actually went up on that mountain once, but that's beyond the point. I'm so sorry if I get distracted and, like, totally go off topic. I probably will do that a lot. And I hurt myself on there, and then I would always go in the office, and I would just sit there, and I would, like, have fun. I don't know why. I just remember I would be in the seat, and I would just be, like, kicking my feet, like, this is fun. I don't have any friends, so I don't really care. And, eventually I did get friends, and that teacher did leave. And I had these friends that were twins. I'm not going to mention their names just for privacy reasons. And we're not friends anymore, but they were the bestest friends I ever had. We would have sleepovers at each other's houses. Well, at their house. I had an apartment, because this was back when I lived in California. So we would, like, go to each other's houses, and we would have a lot of fun. And she was in Girl Scouts. They both were. And I remember that they wanted me to go with them, so I decided to, just because, I was like, oh cool, I finally have friends, so yeah, sure. I joined their little Girl Scout group. Sadly, they had to leave eventually, but okay, going back to when I was alone, because I just remembered again. I remember that I would be, like, really lonely, and we got to choose, like, partners, and nobody would choose my to be partners with me, and, like, one of the bad kids, I guess you could say, like, the kid that no one really liked, and he would always get himself in trouble. He was the only one left, and I was like, no, I'd rather be by myself. And I remember one time, this is also before I had friends, and this also still affects me to this day, what happened. That I was really bad at math. I've always been bad at math, and I still am, and I still struggle, and I hate it so much with a burning passion. And I was struggling with a question, and the supervisor refused to help me. And I kept asking her, and she's like, no, you need to figure it out for yourself. And I was, like, looking at it, and I was trying my hardest to, like, freaking figure it out, but she just refused to help me. And I just sat there, and I just waited for her to help me, but she never did. And eventually, lunch was over, and the teacher came over, and she was like, okay, go and get your lunch, and go over and sit on that table over there. And everybody was staring at me. It was so awkward. I can't believe that she just put me on the spot like that. It was so scary. I literally, like, had a heart attack. Not literally, but it felt like it. Like, I had a lot of anxiety when I was younger. And that was probably the most horrific thing that ever happened in my life, and because of that, I'm actually afraid of people asking for help because, one, I think it makes me look stupid. Two, I just like to figure things out for myself, which probably isn't the best because, you know, everybody sometimes needs to ask for help. And number 3, I'm afraid that just like that happened, that they will refuse to help me. Okay, now let's move on to 1st grade. 1st grade was actually pretty great. My cousin was there with me, and I'll mention her a lot, actually, because she's amazing. But anywho, there was another girl that had the same name as me, and she's like, well, you can be number 2, and I can be number 1 of our name, Inshot name. And I didn't say anything because I was a shy, quiet kid, you know, but I hated her. Okay, I didn't hate her, I just really disliked her. I really disliked her attitude, and she was, like, really mean to me, and she would be nice to, like, my cousin and her friend, but she would never be nice to me, and eventually she moved schools. A lot of people did, because they couldn't afford this private school because it was really expensive. And eventually, 2nd and 3rd grade, I remember I had a friend, and we got along really well. I stayed in that class, and I was the only 3rd grader in the 2nd grade class just because I didn't want to leave my teacher. I loved my teacher, so I didn't want to leave. And I made a friend there, and then eventually she moved. And then, now the 4th grade. This is where things start to go really downhill. So, excuse me as I get emotional. So, my cousin was in that class because it was 4th and 5th grade, and the first thing I remember is that we were playing Capture the Flag, and I was on a team with my friend, and this girl came over to me, and she said, oh, hey, you know, I'm on your team, and I was like, really? I don't remember you being on my team. And she's like, oh, yeah, totally, just, like, go over there, and, make sure that nobody goes over the line, and I'll guard the flag. And then she totally manipulated me and stole the flag. And my friend got so mad at me and like so many people, and I just felt so embarrassed and so stupid because she did that. And I remember that we actually ran into her once at the store, and it was like probably, I was in 8th grade, so like 3 years later I saw her, but I still remember what she did to me. So I just kind of like I just like glanced at her and like looked away, and I'm just like, I don't like you. I don't like what you did to me, and it was, yeah, I was like, I'm never gonna forgive you for that. And eventually I did. We were stupid little kids. I mean, what can you say? And I was friends with this girl because she was friends with my cousin, and she had 2 other friends, and we would hang out all the time. And actually, she used to have LPS, and I once went to her house, which was basically like a mansion. Like, her house was huge. She had her own room, her sister had her own room, and her brother. The living room was so big, and the pool, she had her own pool, and basically like a forest backyard. It was pretty crazy. But, we'll get to that part later, about her house. And so, like, we were, like, really best friends and stuff. And then it was finally, I went into 5th grade, and I still stayed in that class, because you stay in that class. And I remember that there's this girl that came, and nobody liked her for some reason. Like, there was nothing wrong with her. It was because she liked dolls. But I'm just like, that's so stupid because we're still young. You know, we're only 9, 10 years old. Like, I literally like LPS. Like, that's just stupid. So, since everyone was mean to her, I decided to be her friend. And I did the weirdest thing. And I made her, well, not really made her, but like, asked her to call me a different name every day because I hated my name so much. It's a very common name. So I really liked unique names. I still do. Like when it comes to my LPS, I like unique names or characters in general. So I didn't like my name, so I told her to change it. Every day it would change. And eventually my friend would start being mean to her, and for some odd reason, I started being mean to her too. And basically I would bully her, and it was bad. I mean, we became friends, and then I totally like betrayed her. And I totally like was being mean to her just so my friend could like me and like not think I was stupid or something like that. I don't really know. I don't really know what I was thinking back then. But eventually I remember that she would get detention every day because she wouldn't do her homework. And I kind of feel like that was my fault because, you know, I was mean to her and probably she just felt hopeless and depressed. And I remember in one class, I was so mean to her. Like, we had to sit next to each other, and for some reason in this weird, stupid system, they would have these flags, and they would have the Christian flag and the American flag, and you had to put them in this, like, hole in your desk. Yes, they had desks. You had to sit there all day and wait for the teacher to go and help you. It was the most annoying system ever. I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore. But anywho, so we had to share a flag because there wasn't enough desks since there were so many children, and it would just annoy me so much. And I remember we were playing with toys, and I literally just grabbed the toy and walked away. Like, how mean is that? And I remember I like blew raspberries at her face, and the teacher got me in trouble, and I had to go in timeout. This was in 3rd grade, by the way, not 4th. 4th grade, they treat you a little older at least. 4th grade is when you actually start scoring your work. Yes, you have to score the work yourself. It's really not the best system. I'm just gonna say that right now. Definitely wasn't the best system, and kind of the worst school I've ever been to, and that's saying something. So yeah. You literally sit at a desk all day, and you literally have to ask to score your work, and if you get it wrong, you have to go back, correct it, and then wait for the flag again. So yeah, some days I would literally have homework just because I couldn't score my stupid freaking work. Ugh, so annoying. But let's get on to when I was in 5th grade. So my friend invited me to her birthday party. It was a whole big thing, but sadly, I was going on this trip. And actually before that trip, that girl, we'll just call her Sammy. Yep, we're calling her Sammy. Sammy had a birthday party and she invited everyone and nobody showed up. Only my friend did. And she was like, you guys literally left me and I had to go to her party and it was so awkward. I'm like, sorry, I'm so sorry I had to leave you, but I went to SeaWorld. So I went up to SeaWorld and I promised her that I would try to go to the trip, and not the trip, the birthday party. I'm so dumb. Anyway. So we finally reached the birthday party and it was pretty late. It was like nighttime already. It was like, I think 5-6 o'clock. And everybody was doing like their nails and stuff. And so her older sister, I forgot to mention she had an older sister and an older brother. Sorry about that. Oh, I think I did. Never mind. Anywho, we started doing our nails and stuff, and then I recognized my cousin and a few other friends from my school, and she also had other friends because she used to go to a public school. So we had a lot of fun. You know, we went to a room, we played Barbies, and I played with her LPS, of course, and the Barbies too, because I was into the dolls a little bit. And then we did some more things, and of course, you know, we did swimming. Oh wait, that was in the morning. Never mind. Yeah, we did swimming in the morning. And then it was nighttime, and then it was time to go to bed. So we were all staying up late because, like, who freaking sleeps at a sleepover? Not me. And we were all, like, talking, you know, about school and stuff. And then eventually she said, okay guys, I have a mint, and I want everyone to close their eyes. and I'm gonna pick my bestest friend in this whole room. So I closed my eyes and I was like, you know, she's definitely not gonna pick me. I was not expecting her to pick me. But she literally picked me. And then her friends opened their eyes because she told them to. And they're like, you picked her, didn't you? They were looking at me. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And the girl, Eliana, sorry, we'll just say that's her name, was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And then I told my cousin that she actually picked me. So let's skip forward to 6th grade. My cousin and my friends were still in 5th grade by now, so I didn't get to see them very much, and I was pretty sad about that. And this is where my first crush happened. In 6th grade. I was 12 at this time. No, 11, because my birthday's in September, so once the school starts, I'm that same age for the whole entire year until next year. So, I was 11 years old by then, and I didn't know a lot of the kids in this class. You know, I was kind of shy, I was very scared, and I didn't really want to make friends, and I had a lot of trouble with math, and so of course, I cheated. I cheated a lot, and I'm not proud of it, but at the same time, it's like, the fact that you make the children score your own work, what do you think is gonna happen? And the fact that I struggled so much, it's like, you really think that I'm just gonna be like, oh, look, I got one thing wrong, and I made a stupid mistake. I'm just gonna, you know, mark this whole page wrong, and then go back and have to wait a whole hour for them to answer my stupid flag. No. So I cheated a lot, and eventually I did get caught a few times, and I did get detention. I hated it. It sucked a lot. Basically spent half of the lunch sitting at a desk doing work again. And the annoying thing is, you would get detention if you didn't do these verses. Yes, these verses. I have a terrible, terrible memory. And the fact that you had to memorize these verses at a short amount of time to go on these field trips was very annoying. So I would get detention a lot for not doing my stupid verse. And, you know, I would spend most of the time on my lunch all alone. And eventually the girls would invite me sometimes. They'd be like, oh, come on over, you know. But then they would eventually ditch me. Like, I wouldn't eat my lunch in time, and they would just leave. They would just get up and leave the table. And I'm like, okay, I'll just sit here alone then. That's fine. And I remember one time I was trying to, you know, my mom was encouraging me to, you know, go and make some friends and try to at least talk to them. So I'd follow them around. I wouldn't really talk to them. But I was trying to talk to the nice girl, she was pretty popular, and her mom was actually the teacher of the school. The thing about this annoying school is that if you know somebody, you're related to the principal, you're friends with the principal's children, or something like that, if you are a child of the staff, basically you are like really popular and you get a lot of grace, and it's really annoying. Like I said, very messed up school. So, I would follow the teacher's daughter around, and this girl looked at me, and she's just like, can you go away? We're trying to have a private conversation. I was like, I just stared at her and I walked away, and I was like, okay, well, I'm never hanging out with you again. And I remember one time I was just trying to talk to her, and her other stupid friend was, like, straight up ignoring me. Like, freaking straight up ignored that I even existed. These girls were super mean. Like, eventually I stopped hanging out with them because I was just like, you know what, I'd rather be alone than be with these brats. And I actually had my first crush on this really cute guy. He was very sweet and very handsome, and we actually went to this camp, a Christian camp, of course, and I remember I was really cold, and he gave me his jacket, and he also bought me hot chocolate when we went ice skating on a field trip, and another time he bought me chocolate again. And he was just the sweetest guy, but sadly he changed once he got into high school, so once we got into high school, I totally got over him because of that. He became really mean and cussed a lot, and I was like, you know what, that's not attractive, that's not what I like. I don't like that at all. So anywho, 6th grade was definitely a struggle, and then I had to go into 7th grade. And again, I had to wait for my friends, and it sucked. Big time. Actually no, I stayed in that class with my friends, and this is where things start to get pretty bad. I remember that we had some new students, because we always have new students, obviously. So everybody else was in 6th grade and I was in 7th grade, and the teacher was totally fine, like they were flexible about this kind of thing. And I remember so many times my mom would tell me to tell the teacher to tell the girls to be graceful for me, but they never did. I mean the girls that were the same age as me. I always had friends that were younger than me, so. Oh, I never said what happened to those other girls in kindergarten. Those girls moved away, and I eventually invited them to a few birthday parties, but after that, I never saw them again. We just kind of drifted apart, and it happens, I guess. And I did try to make a friend in 5th and 6th grade, but she also moved schools. Anywho, everything was going pretty good this year. I was trying not to cheat, I was trying to be diligent and, be honest about my work if I got it wrong and stuff. I remember my cousin and I would be so bored that we would start passing notes to each other in class, and my aunt started working there, and she found one of the notes underneath the desk, and she's like, girls, if this happens again, we will get in trouble, but I'll let it slide this once. And we were just like, okay. So we never did it again. Just kidding, we did. We did it a few times, and then we're like, yeah, I think it's better that we just talk at break and lunch. Yeah, we had a break and a lunch. The break was 30 minutes long, and the lunch, I wanted to say break again. The lunch was an hour long. So we had pretty nice breaks, which was nice about that school, I guess. And okay, so I remember that there was this new girl, and we started to become friends with her too, and she invited all of us to her birthday party, and she had a really nice big house too. And I just lived in this tiny, crappy, very, very tiny apartment, so it was pretty bad. But I remember that, somehow we, even though it was a really small apartment, I invited all of my friends, and we all fit in there somehow. We made it work. I actually had a lot of sleepovers, and they were pretty fun. I miss a lot of my friends, sadly, but I doubt I'm ever gonna see them again. I have some in California, and I have some who are here in Idaho, but in different parts. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm ever gonna see them again. But I had a lot of church friends, too, but they also drifted apart and moved away, and who knows what happens to them now. And I never had a phone until I was in high school, so I could never contact any of those people. So, anywho, things were going pretty great for the most part, and then my friend, my supposed best friend, Eliana, started to try to take my other friend, we'll call her Ariel, yeah, Ariel, would try to take Ariel away from me. She would do everything in her power to try and get her away from my cousin and I. It was super annoying. And I would just try to be friends with all of them, but, Eliana didn't want to have anything with it. So eventually, I just gave up and started hanging out with my cousin a lot. And we're just gonna fast forward to 8th grade. This is where things started getting bad. after, you know, she started to try to steal my friends. I remember, we were sitting at the table, and we were talking and stuff. Oh, and if you're wondering if I coughed, it's not because I've corona, it's because my mouth is really dry. And I've been talking a lot. This happens when I talk a lot. So, I remember we were sitting at a table, and we were just talking and stuff, and then she would, like, my best friend would, like, share secrets and stuff, and then one time, she was kind of really upright rude to me and said, oh yeah, when I'm older, I'm gonna have, like, a hot, like, jockey boyfriend, and you're probably gonna have some dorky nerd. Like, she said it in a mean way, but now I'm like, that's a compliment, honestly. Because I do have a nerd for a boyfriend, a dorky nerd, and I love him, so. Anywho. And she was just kind of rude to me, and sometimes she would just ignore me. And so in 8th grade, I had a small crush on this one guy, but eventually I got over this guy because he was kind of strange and kind of really gross. Because, you know, guys, I only liked him because he liked cats. Yeah, my standards were really low back then. This was in 7th grade. So, okay, in 8th grade, I found out that my friend, Ariel, also liked LPS, so we would try to bond over that. And she actually gave me, no, she didn't give me any. That was a different friend. But she did have some LPS, and I wish I could have asked to have them, but I didn't. I did give her one, though. I don't know why I did, but I did. Anyhow, I remember that my supposed best friend would talk about this big birthday party where she was gonna go on a limousine, and it was gonna be super great and really fancy, like, kind of birthday party, and she invited everybody but me. Yeah, that's right, everybody but me. Like, my cousin would mention it to Eliana all the time, and she would just straight up ignore her, and she wouldn't even acknowledge my existence. And this is when she started drifting apart, and she started to try to take away my friend. She already was trying in 7th grade, but now in 8th grade she definitely was trying to take away my friend. And it really annoyed me and made me really sad. Like, why was she doing this? I don't understand. And when the day of the party finally came, she had a September birthday just like me. We started, like, in the end of August, I'm pretty sure. So, like, normal kind of time. So it was around September, like, 1st, I think was her birthday. But anywho, when her birthday finally came around, nobody really went except one other friend and my cousin. And my mom said, you know, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe they all know that she's a brat and that they didn't want to go to her party, because honestly, at this age, she really was mean. She became so mean. And I remember one time at PE, the PE teachers were really harsh. They would make us do miles and all this crap, and we're still, like, young children, too. I don't even want to get into it because it's just so terrible. And we wouldn't do anything fun. I mean, like, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. Like, we're still pretty young. Why can't we do the fun things that, you know, the other kids get to do? It's because my old PE teacher left, so we had to have replacements. Joy. I'm so glad I don't have to do PE anymore. That's, like, the most hated class I had. Besides math. I hate math. But anywho, I didn't have any crushes. I was like, you know what, whatever. And I would be really annoyed also because, like, every single time I would have homework, and I really didn't like that because my old neighborhood friend, we would play all the time, and we would bond, and she liked LPS and she liked Monster High, and she actually introduced me to anime, so thank her for that, because now I'm a total weeb for anime. Anywho, we were pretty great friends, and she also liked Warrior Cats. Even though she had dyslexia, she only read a few books, but it was still something. I read the whole series. That's when I was like really obsessed. 8th grade. That's the time I was super obsessed. Baby!